videotaped, live streamed on the town's website workshop. So COVID-19 and some of the executive orders and relaxing or whatever of public meetings is necessity's the mother of invention, right?
Yes, it is.
So here we are. And our first topic of the evening, Art Patron, our Deputy Department of Public Works Commissioner and really running of the sewer department, is going to present the sewer plant and collection needs. And thank you for getting us the Excel spreadsheet and notes in advance.
No problem. So, we've talked about some of this stuff at different meetings and in different formats. Again, these are just items that have been hanging out there, and I'm seeing today this by no means is a comprehensive or complete list, but these are some of the hot topics, and just wanted to share them with you so we can hopefully plan a little bit and keep moving forward. First item is our Clem Road pump station and Fawnwood pump station. The upgrades of our Clem Road pump station. Just to review, that is a triplex pump station, means 3 pumps. We are currently down to 2.5 pumps. We cannot put the third pump in due to failures in the rails, rotting, things like that. We have no ability to bypass that station. The electronics are outdated. There's no flow meter on the station and all sorts of good stuff. And actually the HVAC is substandard, actually non-existent in our well side of that pump station. So this upgrade would give us all the piping, all the pumps, all the controls up to code HVAC. So that will, the only thing we're not touching in that station is the generator. It also would include our Fawnwood pump station. Over the past few years, and as recently as last year, the discharge main has blown apart, which causes the pump station to fill up to 3 to 4 feet inside, and it comes out the doors. The only way to fix it is to get into the wet well, and my guys go in and they do the best they can, band-aid it together, but it has failed numerous times. It needs to be done correctly. At this point, it's not a good situation, and it will fail again. There's no doubt about that. Any questions on Clem Road and Fawnwood?
No.
I have none.
No, we've talked about it many times.
Okay. And again, guys, please, if I'm being too brief or, running too long, please jump in. Schlegel Road. We've had, during my short tenure, we've had two mainline failures, and prior to my tenure, there was a third mainline failure. It's about 2,000 feet left of that main. We can only camera, I would say, less than 10% of that due to debris, mud, built. I had electricians go in there and look at it. Right now, the transfer switch for the generator is shot. And that actually failed soon after, to my understanding, failed soon after the pump station was put into operation. The conduits are not up to code, and there's some other repairs we need to make to it. Those estimates come in at $26,000. And that would then, once they turn it over to us, we'd be in great shape. Right now, we maintain it to the best of our ability, because if there's a failure in it, it does come back to the town. Will not go back to the developer. So we have to do what we have to do to keep it running. It's a good pump station. We just need to get it transferred over and do some maintenance on it, and that'll be a good one for us for a long time.
How is it that,
This is Charlie. On that, Art, the last contact I had was back on March 2nd. I sent out 4 prospective easements, and I copied in you and Jeff and I believe Joe Herbst and Tom also, just for his information. I was waiting for easement descriptions. So I mean, obviously everything just hit the fan back in early March. So if one of you or all of you could just check your March 2nd emails and get back to me on that, I can forward them on. If everything's okay, I can forward them on to Leonardo's or Big Blue's attorney. Okay?
Great, thank you, Charlie.
I don't understand how it is that we have a system that is not ours. How old is that system?
Moving on.
How old is that pump station?
Did you hear that, Art? Barry's question?
I did not.
He said he didn't understand how there's a pump station that's not ours, and how old is that pump station?
And, I don't have my notes in front of me. I don't think, Tom, maybe you were in the, is the 10 years? Sound correct?
That's what,
Not that old.
it sounds right to me based on the meetings I was in January and February on this.
Yeah.
And you can explain better why the pump station was built by the developer, the property owner.
Well, I can explain why it was built.
I know why it's built. I'm just curious as to why. Can you hear me now?
I can.
Okay, this microphone must be on. The other one must not have been. It's a question that doesn't need to be answered. It's just amazing to me how we've been maintaining a pump station for 10 years that isn't ours, and now we're going to fix it on our dime. It just, I don't know. We got to do it. We got to go forward. Let's just move on to the next topic.
Well, we're going to get ownership to it in essence.
And generally, when you complete a project and you take C of O's, you get ownership at that point.
Yeah.
Okay.
But something's been
This would be a private. Other than that, this would be a private system.
something's been hanging this up for a very long time because
Years.
I feel like it's as long as I've been on the board that
It
we've
has
been
been.
discussing this. And I don't know what the holdup has been. I think it's been multiple things, and we'd have to dig into the history of it. But it sure would be good to put this, to seal this deal and be done with it.
I think I might be able to help on that one.
I hope so.
Charlie, you can corroborate this. The main house hasn't been built yet, has it?
As far as I know, it has not been, no.
And that's what's holding it up?
There's been ongoing development for the entire project. There is, the pump station, I think, is where it's located is up near where the developer is going to put his house. But I think it's serving, and Art would know better than I, this is going to be serving, I believe, more than just that house.
Yeah, it's already
That's correct.
servicing.
Yeah,
It's already
currently
servicing
does,
a new
yeah.
build and several that have been there for decades.
Yep.
Yeah, we've had Barry, we've had problems with this going back to Gary Kleist day. Okay, this a long time. And there was anyway. Well, I'm not going to get into the details of it, but it's I guess we're fairly close to getting it resolved.
Okay.
That's all I can say.
Yeah, Barry and Patty, I think we all agree, yeah, this has gone on too long, and we're just trying to get it resolved.
Okay, well, I'm glad it's risen to the top of the list of importance, and let's see if we can't get it sealed.
That would be great. So next item, our boiler in the service building. That boiler was original, and it had failed. The sections had leaked. It had rotted out. We put a new one in, high efficiency, for $39,000. I applied for a rebate, which just actually came the other day, of $2,100 from RG&E. So that was good. I think 94% efficient compared to the old boiler. I think the old boiler was 1.5 million BTUs. This one is 700,000, and so it's definitely more efficient. This one I brought up, outlet, the Ready Grant project. There is going to be a cost, which you guys are aware of, about $41,000, which is our share of the grant, which is a pretty good deal.
So, I mean, when you say our share, I thought the Ready stuff was pretty much 5% town input, so
I think he's referring to it as the sewer department's share.
well, that's why I'm just thinking 41,000 is okay. So the sewer department's share is around 800,000 of the Ready grant.
Yeah.
Okay, then that makes sense.
Yeah. So the pump and grinder, we are in process of installing a new solids pump and grinder that feeds our entire solids building, which is our belt watering press and our centrifuge. The pump we had in there, we were going to rebuild, tried to rebuild it, and we found out that the housing of it was worn, so it didn't warrant to rebuild the pump. Also, the grinder that goes in front of it was non-functional, so we've installed the pump. Grinder should be in the next 10 days, and the new grinder, which grinds up all the rags and so forth that come up, they'll save the pump. The new grinder has a rock catcher on it. We do get rocks that fall in from the lid of the digesters, because the digesters covers are failing. Rocks fall in, they make their way into the system, and then they ruin pumps and everything else. So we got a rock catcher into it, which should save our pumps and the grinder. Those installs are being done in-house, except for the logic and control. We just have a guy come in to help us with those, to set the drives and stuff like that.
Can I stop you for 1 second, Eric? Because you're about to go down a list of the next, I think, 5 line items that all have in the notes that phase 2 of the sewer plant would potentially encompass these. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And I just wanted the board, especially John, Barry, and Bill, to know that yesterday we received from EFC some clarity as to if the village pursues their own sewer plant going into the future versus regionalization, what the financing and hardship financing would be on that versus financing and grants for a regional project. Patty, I'm going to try to see if we can get next week to get the mayor and the deputy mayor and the engineers on a Zoom meeting or a call to make sure we're all interpreting what Lydia from EFC sent us, because did you get a chance to look at it?
I did look at it, and I could use some help with interpreting it.
Good. I'm glad I'm not the only one that was a little confused.
Yeah.
So,
Well, let me just quickly jump into that. I did have a conversation with Bartlett and Judith today, among other things. You know, that was brought up briefly. Now that they're saying now that we have a better idea of the funding, they can work as magic on spreadsheets and give a little more clarity as to how this will impact that. So my suggestion would be to wait for Pete's updated spreadsheet before you reach out to the village. That might help you in that conversation.
Did he have any indication as to how long it would take him to do that?
I only think a few days. You've seen Pete's spreadsheet. They're usually about, an arm length long. But he knows there's a bit of an urgency to it, so I think he's going to get right on.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Shall I continue? No?
yeah, and as you enter into these, if they are in phase 2, it'll affect both the timing and how much grant money that we're going to be getting for these items based on which way we go. The town only on phase 2 or regional approach.
Yeah, and so that's a great point, Tom. So my goal is to not, wholesale and replace any of these things. Anything I'm talking about has been repaired numerous times or is failing right now. And I would like to be able to get to, push these out into the 2021 budget. But I bring them up because, as we all know, this stuff is 20, 30, 40 years old, and it fails, and we can only fix it so many times. So, ideally, keep it going until the decision is made, regionalization or not. We have a plan for the future, and or put it in the next budget. What I don't want to do is put something in that in 2 to 5 years is taken out because there's an upgrade. To me, that's a waste. But some of the stuff we have to do, but I'm trying to hold off as best as we can. The next item is our pista grit. The pista grit is in our headworks. It removes the grit from the incoming, basically from the influent. It saves all of our pumps, saves all of our piping, and things like that. The pista grit is approximately 20 years old. We have put some repair money into it. It is inconsistent in its operation. It takes a lot of babysitting. We did have the distributor in a couple weeks ago help us out with it and work through, give some parts list. Parts for that are about $9,000. They are repairs we can do in-house. To put in perspective, a new Pista is well over $100,000. So, to me, it's a good investment. If we can keep it running consistently, again, keeps the wear and tear down on our other pumps. And keeps our system running. It is a vital component to our system. So, phase 2, there will be a redundant system, so there isn't the same Pista group running 24/7, 365. Our solids boiler. The boiler in our solids building. This is a dual fuel methane natural gas boiler. We had a section start leaking on us a week or 2 ago. People were able to repair it and reseal it. This boiler has become the bane in my existence. It heats our digesters. It has to work. But it is just nickel-diming us to death, quite honestly. And I'm not even talking about the leak, the seal leak between the sections. It's just other stuff that just keeps going on and on. Again, there's one that I'd be more apt to replace a pump sooner than this without having a plan in place.
this, I think it's answered here later somewhere, but right now are we releasing raw methane into the atmosphere?
I'm glad you asked that. So at this point, we do not run on methane at all.
Right, we used to burn the excess.
That has happened for many years, for numerous reasons. One, because the digester covers leak. There is inconsistent gas pressure, so we're not taking advantage of free heating fuel. So we're running on natural gas. We have tried to run it on natural gas, and it's so inconsistent. I'm constantly calling the repair guy in to try to tweak it. Secondly, we don't have a flare.
That was my question is, we're no longer burning it?
No, I don't think that thing has worked in many, many years as well. It's not operational and it's not up to code.
Okay.
So in essence, your question? Yes, we're releasing methane. Next one is the centrifuge software update. The software in our centrifuge has been unsupported as long as I've been there and years before that. This comes to a point that we've run into very recently that the centrifuge glitches, and we're trying our best to get it running so we can run solids. There was a week and a half here recently that we could not get centrifuge to run solids. Thankfully, our rep from the manufacturer was on the phone with us for 2 to 3 days. We're manually going in and trying things, but the manufacturer as a whole, they can't jump into it and look at it. They can't correct it. It is outdated, unsupported. We were able to dial it back in. We don't know what's wrong with it. It's running, but at some point, probably in the very near future, we're going to have to look for a software
short-term and long-term approach. I am just looking at the near-term approach, high priority items, covers, some of the gas valves, safety issues, flare, things like that. Some of the funds, and I've already counted, I think it's a $1.2 million high priority repairs. At this point, we're looking at a shortage of $575,000. The balance coming from a savings that I'm hoping to get out of our current project. These repairs, irregardless of phase two, need to be done. They have to be done either way, and these need to be done sooner or later. The digestion time should be 28 days. We have, on a good month, we get 9. So what that's leading to is a higher process cost and a higher hauling cost, because it's not being digested out. Again, the whole name of the game here is reducing volume. We're not reducing the volume, so we're having to process it. More electricity, more water, and more chemical to get that processed.
Art, can I ask a question about those? Can you hear me?
Sure.
When we met early on and you had presented this list, just a preliminary list, we talked about the digester repairs. I'm looking at my notes and we said that it could not be included in the original project, and EFC suggested a new project. Are you telling me that we can pay for this out of savings in the original project?
We can. We will not take advantage of, they won't include it in any grant.
Okay.
That's the difference. Because originally, Patty, I think that that delta would have been more towards 400,000, and then we got clarification that we could not use. They wouldn't allow us to use that grant, so that's where it comes to 575.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Hey, Art, I got a question on the digesters.
Yes, sir.
So if we get the covers, new covers, and that reduces our hauling, what percentage ballpark do you think it would reduce our hauling as far as tonnage goes?
John, I can't answer that question. It's going to reduce our volume, so it's going to reduce the biggest impact is going to reduce our chemical usage, our polymer usage, and our electric usage. That's where our biggest impact is going to come from. It will reduce our hauling without a doubt, because we're going to reduce the volume ahead of the process. I just can't answer that question. I wish I could quantify that for you, though.
Well,
I tell you what I can do. Once this is repaired, I'll get you that answer. Give me 28 days after this is repaired, and I'll give you the answer.
perfect. Now we definitely have to have those. They have to be working. It's going to save us money all over the place, like you said. So
They have to be working. That flare needs to be working. We're severely out of compliance, and we're bleeding methane into the atmosphere. And again, we're catching rocks into our pumps and things like that. So, yeah.
no, I agree 100%.
Okay. talked about it. This is one we can show a return pretty easily. And I hesitate to call it a septic receiving facility because it was never designed as that. It was designed as a leachate receiving facility. Difference being leachate is clear liquid, and we all know what septic is when the haulers bring it in. As it stands right now, due to what we're going through, we're not meeting permit on a regular basis in our construction. We can't take them. However, when we can take trucks, they're dumping everything into these big tanks, and we're ending up with mounds of grit that then clog up our pumps on a regular basis, I mean weekly basis. It is taking guys good half a day to clean those pumps so we can continue taking septage. And it is costing us $1,500, $2,000 a year each pump just to replace worn items because we're pumping grit. What happens at half point is we can pump the grit out with our truck, and we put it on the pad in front of it, which is far too small to try to dewater and get the grit out. But 3/4 of the grit goes back in. It's a very vicious circle. That's all we're doing. It's just going around and around with this grit. If we get to the point where we can start taking septage, and that is our facility, I will have no choice but to call Chamberlain in to pump that grit out, take it to Van Lair on a regular basis. We're spending too much labor, too much time on a vicious circle trying to do it. A new facility would have grit screening. It would be automated as far as how many gallons they're dumping. Right now it's on the honor system. We'd have a drying pad that would be 5 to 6 times as big as it is now. So that's a revenue generator, plain and simple. And again, that would be included in phase 2. No question.
Art, I could be wrong on this. I thought years and years ago when I worked there that septage was disposed of into a manhole that took it in to the head of the plant, and leachate went into the holding tanks. I thought that.
Yeah, you're right. And that's the way it was. But so to my understanding, years ago that dump station was filled in. That not even a dump station. That basically that trough because it was upsetting the plant too much.
Okay.
Pumping all of that, pumping that all in at once, and I've gotten that from probably 3 different chiefs.
Yeah.
It just goes in too quick.
Okay.
Yep, and I think that was the problem with that. Probably back when we were taking less flow, and most likely the less septage, it worked. But I think with the flow we have now, with all the growth, and again, it probably at that point the village was still accepting septage, so we weren't getting that many trucks. Now with the village not accepting it, we would have, when they stopped and they started coming to us, we would have them, we'd take 5, 6 trucks a day at times. They'd be lined up for getting ready to dump.
Okay. Thank you.
So, and again, that just shows opportunity in my book. So, the last item is the suction line at Bosberg. Bosberg pump station is our biggest pump station. It has 3 pumps in the basement of that pump station. On one side of the wall, the 3 pumps. On the other side is the wet well with a suction line coming through the wall. The area around that pipe on the wall is leaking. It put $20,000 into the budget last year, just honestly as a shot in the dark. I have talked to our contractors that are on site now, Blue Heron Construction. We're going to inject epoxy in and around that pipe I think, for my money, I'm going to gamble on $1,500 if that works. So, also at Bosburg, which is not on the notes here, on one of our main lines down there, there are two nipples that are rotting. Again, they are rotting. They fall off, they rot off. There's no stopping the flow. Again, here we go, right? So we're trying some techniques to stop that rot and sort of rebuild some of the metal. It even came to the point that we can't put a band clamp around that. We can't grind them off and put a band clamp around it because we can't stop the flow more than 10 minutes to get the work done. So, again, we'd have to bypass the station and do this all at once. So I'm hoping, we're all hoping that what we're doing will buy us some time. Any questions on anything I've mentioned?
I have two, Art. One is pretty granular. The Schlegel Road CIPP, that is the same thing that was done over on Gravel Road back in February.
That is correct.
And I know Gravel Road, that project isn't on this Excel spreadsheet, but that that project is complete now. Is that not correct?
As of this week, yeah, they were, the piping and the lining was done. They're just doing some restoration work. So, in all intents and purposes, it's 99% complete.
Okay. And I'm hoping that this will kind of lead to my more global question. Is that, Paul, hopefully we can figure out what the estimate actual cost of Gravel Road CIPP was as it gets completed. It'll give some reference to the Schlegel Road CIPP because Schlegel's 2,000 foot. I want to say Gravel was 300 foot.
Absolutely, but Tom, remember, and you had two different scenarios, complete two different scenarios. And this is why, I want to talk about Schlegel Road now. So Gravel Road, as was the three other repairs on Schlegel, it was an emergency. We had a section of pipe collapse. So within that cost, we had multiple days of our contractor in there bypassing, digging, and replacing pipe. The second portion of that was the contractors in there trying to get in there, flush the line, determine, and do it very gently to see the condition. So remember, you had an emergency repair tied with the CIPP. If we are proactive, our costs are much less.
Gotcha. No, I
Obviously.
understand.
Yep.
But I guess my more global question is that you have an estimate column here on these jobs. You also have the timing. Some of these have already been completed. The ones that have question marks, and I applaud the fact, Art, that you've attempted to give these estimates. Where it seems like in projects like this, often we get engineering firms to give us estimates. So I appreciate that you didn't ask for hazard pay to come up with estimates for this. Thank you.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
If there was any misconception there is a request for hazard pay, but we'll talk about that.
You can request anything in this world. When you get it is another story, I guess. But I know for myself, and I can't speak for the other four board members, there's projects here, or line items with question marks as to the estimate of cost. And how can we get an idea of what those costs will be on those line items?
Yeah, Tom, it's a great question. I wasn't going to just guess at a number. So the numbers I have are fairly accurate number. I would direct all of you to the bottom, everything highlighted in yellow. Okay, those are my caveats.
Yep.
So
I'm sorry to interrupt, but the ones that do have the questions would also be completed in phase 2.
Correct. And so I didn't feel the need to, at this point, to go out and get some prices just yet. I am getting prices on primary pumps though. That's in process. But I don't have a price. I can't tell you if it's 5,000 or 50,000. I have no idea. But I got 3 different vendors looking at it. I gave you the prices that I knew. The actuator valve, I don't know. So, digest repairs, that, again, those were estimates from a year and a half, 2 years ago. I will say that would need to be updated and looked at. Looked at hard to see if there's something needs to be added, removed. But that's a good estimate, and that's why it's an estimate. The same with Clem Road. Clem Road is under final review with the engineers. But that 805 was the number we've discussed, so I threw that in there. I can't imagine it's going to vary much at all. But it is in final review. We were at 35% drawing design, so we just got to get to 60%, which we were close at that point.
Bill, are you on the call? See, I was concerned about that I don't remember hearing. Okay. John, I know you were on the call because you did ask a question. In hindsight, I probably should have had Chris Bilo go first. Sorry, Chris, that you've hung out for a long time on this one, but you learned a little bit about our sewer system, so that's all good. But I think the first line item, Clem Road Fund, what this board has seen many times, and we're moving forward with that pending just some tweaking of the engineer numbers because of a change of personnel situation, correct, Art?
That's correct. We want to be sure. That's one of them. We're at 35%. Usually it's 60%, 65% design. Everything's pretty well set at that point. So we just want to double check everything. I jumped the gun last week trying to move this forward. But I want to make sure it's 100, as close as we can get it before we send it to transfer of funds and out to bid.
And then, I don't want to be overly simplified, but the rest of these line items either fall into somewhat of a repair situation, which is not ideal. That's what we're going to try to get away from. Or the other category is the phase 2 of the sewer plant project. The phase 2 of the sewer plant project, like I said, Patty and I think we're now officially neck deep in this process with the mayor and the deputy mayor, based on the information we have. So, Art, it's a fluid situation. How phase 2 will play out over the next months or years really has so much to do with whether we're a regional plant or we're not.
Correct. Absolutely. And like I had said earlier, some of these repairs, replacements are going to happen before a phase 2, just because they're on their last legs.
Yeah.
Some of them, I'm hoping to put off either to a phase 2 or at least into a budget cycle.
Yeah, and I mean,
So we're not.
I'm not sure how many of the board members know that, there's so many parallel things going on. We also just did a presentation from a firm, I can never remember their name, C3PO or whatever.
C2AE.
Thank you very much. That showed us a pretty impressive asset management module, but we're not going to jump and buy their system. We don't even know how much it costs. And we already have an engineering firm here in town that's doing some GIS, too many acronyms. What's GIS, man?
Geographic Information System?
I think that's what it is. So that's still a obviously we want to get to the point where we're doing asset management and spending proactive, cheaper dollars than repair dollars as they come up. Because, even with our own houses, we know repair dollars often end up being a lot more expensive than if we had just proactively replaced something before it became an emergency. So, a lot of moving parts, a lot of parallel forces on this, but I don't have any other questions or comments, but Patty, John, Barry, Bill.
No, I'm good.
Well, Art, I just want to say I appreciate the spreadsheet and all the information that you put together. It's something that needed to be addressed for years, and I'm glad that we're doing it now, and I appreciate, obviously you put many, many hours into getting this prepared for us. And one question I had was, we're going to have a phase 2, whether the village is with us or not, correct?
You tell me. In my opinion, there's no doubt about it. I mean, you see the list, but it's not up to me. It's up to it has to happen.
Well, these definitely have to happen. So, from a village's standpoint, you want that decision, I would presume, sooner than later, correct?
Absolutely.
So, this question's for Patty and Tom because you were in the meeting and I was not, and neither was Barry or Bill, but from the grant perspective, what do you think? Would it be advantageous to go regional? Yeah.
Want to take a shot at that, Patty?
I can't begin to take a shot at that because what we got from EFC the other day, I really, to be honest with you, I only understood one line of it, which was very clear. And I think we need to examine that a little bit more.
Patty, can I jump in?
Yep, jump in.
I think it'll be more clear once Pete plugs all those grants in, and it'll definitely. I think it'll help answer that question. From what he's telling me.
Yeah, and I also
So
want
I think we can almost look at sort of not forget the past stuff, but look at what's coming up in the new data, and it should hopefully be advantageous for both the town and the village.
Okay, thank you, Art.
And John, I'm sorry, Barry, and then I just want to say while we're on that, John, I know that you're anxious to see some sort of resolution to this, as are we. And we had a whole different timeline on it before COVID-19 hit. And that made meetings very difficult. And obviously there's a lot on our plate and the village's plate. So we are still moving this forward in as quick a manner as we possibly can.
Okay, and Art, correct me if I'm wrong. I think there's what's on the table is 2 different phase 2s. Phase 2 is with as a regional, which would include a larger capacity, another primary, another secondary. That would increase our capacity, but the other one is without the regional. We still are going to have a phase 2 where we have to do a number of these things.
Barry, you're absolutely correct. And one thing that is missing is phase 2 regional would include, I believe, a 50-foot additional digester. Phase 2 town only, and I believe it'd be a 42-foot digester. And keeping in mind the digester repairs that we've mentioned were only the high priority
doesn't get too nervous about what you just said. The 20% you said that we're touching in phase one is not 20% of the total cost of what doing this plant will be with phase two. We are in the middle of a $12 million project in phase one, which is $9 million bonded and $3 million grant. We do not. That's not only 20% of the cost. We don't have another $48-50 million to do. So
Total
I
cost
just,
of the whole thing was around 19.
Great clarification.
Well, I mean, I appreciate we're touching 20% of the units or whatever, but we're certainly covering more than 20% of the cost. Now, spoiler alert, as my kids like to say, and it really is simple. I might be the newest member to the board by far, but I've learned quickly, and I agree with this concept, that if we just bonded $9 million for phase one, we usually, it looks like in the past as a board, like to see those bonds, exhausted, paid off before we enter into another borrowing. If we were going phase two as the town alone, that's going to play into the timing of when phase two gets done. It's just a fact. And Art and I have talked about it, Patty has talked. If we go regional, I think there would be enough momentum and we could, show the community based on the additional grants and things like that. The time is now to do this and break away from our usual exhausting previous bonds before we go into new ones, because the time would be now. Why the iron is hot. Because regional, and I've been on record to say this, and I think Patty has, and everybody, that's the best move for this community for the next 20 or 30 years. It just is, but we'll see.
Thanks, Art.
Is Bill on?
I hope. Bill, are you back?
No.
That's a voice that we sorely are missing. I wonder if he's watching it on the computer. I could have him call into my cell phone. I'd put it on speaker. Chris, honestly, I want to get to you, and Donna, we want to get to you too. I hope you're home having popcorn, enjoying this meeting. Hopefully you're watching it on the computer.
I love popcorn, but Donna's sitting in her office.
Oh. I do want to make sure Councilman Abbott does chime in.
Right now.
Thank you. Patty.
Hey, are you not able to call him? What's going on? Did you get the second message that Karen sent out with the PIN number and all that? Have you heard any of Art's presentation?
All right, Patty's on the phone with Bill right now.
So while we're in the awkward silence, I would like to again don't forget the asterisk items at the bottom. This is by no means a complete list. The out. We don't have a good handle on panels, pump stations, things like that. I am started last year, one station at a time, upgrading the control panels, so we can get away from some of the antiquated electronics in them, and we'll continue that. But that's something I could do within the budget.
Well, Art, I gotta say, I have enjoyed the last 4 or 5 months becoming more familiar with the sewer plant and the collection system and the pump stations. It's, as I've said to many people, I think it's fascinating and an engineering marvel. And I appreciate you've been very professional and understanding of the fact that, we can't wave a magic wand and drop 30 million on the place. But you've been very good about getting us the information about candidly saying this is the condition of these things. So I appreciate
Well,
that.
thanks, Tom. And I look at the workshop meetings as an opportunity to again share information, work as a group to try to solve these things. I don't run my own household as reactionary. It pains me when I have to do it at work. Paul and I have probably talked for the last year about being able to forecast some of these items, and that's what brought us to looking at an asset management program. It's tough to do. We will always have emergency repairs, but if we can start to forecast out some of the stuff, that would be great. And sound like you mentioned, everyone knows that the plant is old. You can only repair an old car so long before you trade it in and get a new one. Or you give it to one of your kids, right?
Well, I wish you wouldn't have said that because Joe Herbst is on the line and that's going to lead him into the highway department, isn't it, Barry?
Damn straight it is.
You're not on the agenda tonight, Joe.
You're spitting on a 1969 building that we're playing Russian roulette with.
You're not on the agenda tonight, Joe.
Same thing.
Is Councilman Abbott on yet? Save us, Bill.
Joe, you're in phase 3, buddy.
Joe's in the same
Long gone.
situation.
I'll be long gone by the time phase 3 gets implemented, don't worry.
I don't see Joe on the agenda.
Yeah, Joe's getting quarantined, so make yourself comfortable, Joe.
Are we ready to move on to the next one?
I think we are, Patty, and I you know what?
Can't keep Chris waiting any longer.
Yeah. Well, Mr. Bilo, how are you?
Well, hang on, Chris. Am I done? Can I click off?
I think you can, and I painfully, reluctantly say that because we are just not. Councilman Abbott is not on.
So I spoke with him and he said he was having difficulty with the first number. He did not get the email for the second number. I just gave him the second number. He was going to try it. But he did say that he's okay. He will review the document that Art sent. We weren't making any decisions on it tonight anyway, so he would take a look at the information.
Fair enough.
Very good.
All right. If anybody has any questions, email them to Patty, and she will vet them and respond to them promptly.
Thank you so much, Art.
Wise man, Art.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks,
Have a good
Art.
night. Thanks, Art.
Chris?
I'm here.
Well,
I stayed on that whole time. That was the longest 15 minutes on the agenda I think I've ever sat through.
yeah, that.
I kind of wondered what that 15 minutes was going to accomplish too.
Interestingly enough, because Art sent in today, and he did it in time, the Excel spreadsheet. As soon as I saw it, I almost was like, "There's no way I'm getting through that in 15 minutes." And
Well, I sent an email while he was going to the softball group because I got a Zoom meeting with them at 7 o'clock and said, I may be a little late to your meeting, just as an FYI.
Oh, we'll get you to that meeting, Chris.
I hope we can.
No problem.
And I certainly appreciate you sending over the overhead baseball field and also your write-up of, at least in the past, how this event has gone. And shoot away.
Yeah. So what I can give you is sort of the information that Kristen and I have been putting together really since about the week after I started. She and I had a couple of meetings just to sit down and say, okay, well, what if things don't kind of schedule out and it looks like maybe it gets extended. This pause keeps getting extended. What are other options for us? Because as Kristen was going through the planning for this one, for this year, what she was running into as she was trying to get things lined up is obviously people weren't willing to commit. People being food vendors, that kind of stuff. They weren't willing to commit to the date, which I can understand. Some of the pieces were already in place. Things like the stage, the band, fireworks, those were already in place. So pre-COVID, those contracts had already been established. As we sort of gone through this COVID situation, and we've been meeting about this event, obviously things started to become a concern moving forward if the event actually goes from an activity standpoint. Do we want to have things like the kids' activities, the bounce houses? Is there going to be the availability of some additional food sponsors? So those all sort of played into our thinking the last couple of weeks. That's the reason I reached out to Barry, I guess, a couple of weeks ago and just said, what are some thoughts moving forward so that we can communicate back to those groups, or these are, the band, the stage, the fireworks, so we can communicate to those groups, hey, here's where we stand for June 20th as of, today, April 30th, as an example. So that's spurred this conversation, and, I think for us to have a discussion on what the town's plans or thoughts are moving forward, it'll help, myself as well as Kristen with making some decisions as we get closer to the June 20th date.
Well, can I just, because everybody knows I'm the math newt, do you realize that really, I consider Monday, March 16th as the beginning of COVID-19.
Correct.
Today is 45 days since then. Seems like about 45 years, doesn't it?
It certainly does.
Right?
It sure does.
Do you realize that we're talking about an event
It's 6 weeks.
that is
7 weeks.
51 days away from today? We're talking about an event that is actually 6 more days away from today than the 45 days we've been in COVID. It's an interesting perspective, isn't it? I would like to do something, but before the meeting tonight, I drove by the rec center just for my edification, because my kids have played softball there and all that stuff. So I said, I think the field that you're talking about, that you've had it in the past, and it's not a Major League Baseball field, so it's not 300 feet to the fence and all that, but if that's where we've put 5,000 people, now they're not all there at the same time, I take it they're over a 6-hour period, but
At least,
You probably during the peak time, which would be just prior to fireworks, so as Brass Taxi is playing and people are getting there for the fireworks, you're probably getting around that that attendance at that peak time.
yep.
Yes.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. Agree with you, Chris.
really.
Yeah, as
Yes.
the evening goes on, you'll have 5,000 people there when the first boom goes off.
In
Yeah,
that baseball field?
Yes. When I said, when Chris and I talked about this, the area that's in front of that stand is elbow to elbow from the front of the stand all the way back to the concession kids line. Chairs, blankets, it is elbow to elbow. All the way from where the dough thing is, all the way back to the hamburgers. It's packed. And I leave early from the fireworks because I can't breathe the smoke, and that's a bowl right there. Okay? And when I'm walking out, it's a steady line of people coming in.
Absolutely, yeah. Fireworks go off, 9:45-ish. You're going to have people that are still trying to come into these events at, 9:43.
I've given this some thought, Chris, since we put it on the agenda, and I'm just going to say right up front, as much as I would love to see us celebrate something, because God knows we need to, other than shooting off some fireworks and having people watch them from their cars in the parking lots at Xerox, I don't see how we can do this.
Well, just a thought, one thing didn't we used to do it at North Ponds?
Where are you going to put all those cars and people
The fireworks,
there?
you don't.
Yeah,
The fireworks.
Right.
And
Yeah, that's obviously, anytime you have, an event this size and, similar to when, we would do the Harris Whalen event on 4th of July, you can't pull those events off without having adequate parking, and that's the reason,
Right.
This complex works perfectly for it with the Xerox parking just across.
Right. And when I thought about it, I thought, well, it'd be nice if we could do this somehow and have something for the community. But even when I thought of people sitting in their cars watching it, you know that you're not going to stay in your car to watch it. Everybody's going to get out of their car and stand in the parking lot, and then who's going to be the distance police? It just, I'm really struggling with holding this event at all.
And that's what he and I talked about, because not only, even if the distance regulations were lifted, there's going to be a huge number of people at that date that are still not going to be comfortable with
Correct.
gathering
Right.
like that, shoulder to shoulder.
Yeah, we figured, we've had that discussion internally that, if this even goes, and let's just use 5,000 as the attendance. If 5,000 is what you expect to draw, knowing that these regulations are going to be lifted, the participation percentage is going to be affected where, you might be lucky to draw 30% of your normal attendance. So, you might be looking at 1,500 people, and again, is that still something that you're comfortable in doing?
We also talked about what we're on the hook for if we don't have this, and monetarily, I don't believe we are, correct?
That is correct. And actually, we've had conversations. I think the first group to reach out, our first vendor was the stage audio, and they've reached out. We've communicated with them that, we were going to be having some discussions with the town board, and we would be back to them. Same thing with the band. And then actually yesterday, I don't even know what day, today's Thursday. So I think Tuesday, I got an email from Young Explosives. So I emailed Jim back from there and just told him that I would be having a discussion with you guys tonight, and I would have some clarification for it after this meeting potentially.
Another thing that we discussed was possibly putting it off to the end of the summer, seeing if we could find a date where we could work it towards the end of the summer. And even at that, we wondered if we don't want to reschedule something that we're going to have to eliminate a month.
We've gone through, Barry, we've gone through that too internally. Krista and I, and even a couple of the other staff, we kind of kicked that around as what would be some other options. Obviously, when you have an event like this, logistically, and again, this time is so unique that I've never had to deal with anything in this situation, but, trying to schedule, get this stage back along with getting Brass Taxi lined back up along with Young Explosive gets to be kind of a challenge, not even knowing when that date might be. If you pick the date at the end of the summer, would that even work? One idea that we did have is maybe looking at the Fall Fest and maybe kind of using some of these features or amenities to kind of spruce that event up to make it a little bit bigger in the fall.
Chris, I've got it, that's exactly what was on my mind, is could we roll this into that autumn event that we have,
Yeah.
which is in October sometime?
Yeah.
You know, I haven't gotten that far yet, but I believe it's in the fall. I believe it's like the second week in October.
Yeah, I think, yeah, it's somewhere around there, Chris, and boy, I don't know, I'm on the board for a not-for-profit, and we hold a very big fundraiser the end of September, and I've got to tell you, it's an event where there's 450 people in attendance, and our last discussions just this week are that we're considering even having that as a virtual event, and that's the end of September. So, and I did see that the Jazz Fest has canceled for June and looking to reschedule in October. I think that that's ambitious. And while I'd love to be able to do this in October, I also worry that we could start making plans and then get to October and we still can't really, we're not still free to move about the cabin yet.
No, you're right. I mean, and that's been part of all these groups that I've been talking to, and even, non-event related, is it's difficult right now to spend a lot of, your energy and effort into some of these things that are still to be determined. Best thing you can do right now is just sort of slow play out into the future and say, what are some options for us, rather than build in hard facts and say, this is what we're going to do. Have a couple options, so no matter how this kind of plays out over the next, hopefully, month or so, we can choose which best option best fits for us, at that time.
John?
Hello?
Is John or Bill there?
I'm here.
Any thoughts?
I don't have a problem with, canceling in June. I think that's a responsible thing to do. I do like the idea of moving it to October and making that festival larger rather than just canceling it wholesale. If we don't know by the end of June what this lockdown situation is going to be like, I think there's going to be greater things to worry about from a community standpoint.
I agree with that.
Yep, 100%.
On my Tuesdays and Thursdays, I do a town supervisor's call, and I let them know, I think Tuesday, that we were considering doing this, and I got kind of laughed at, like, you're crazy. You're going to be that guy who has the first big event. And I said, well, now hold on. I didn't say that. I said that we're discussing it, okay? We haven't committed to anything.
Has anybody else's volume gone down on their phone? I had great volume when I first started, and now I can barely hear everybody.
I wonder if I didn't talk into my microphone. Okay.
She's on it.
This is probably a moot point now when I said that I drove by the rec center. When I
Well,
saw
it's good you took a look at it.
I wanted to just, and I'm not a surveyor or whatever with meets and bounds, but I thought, wow, if we could maybe get the softball fields behind the rec center incorporated into this, the park, spread it out, but
I think we've already,
you're perfuming the pig.
I think we've already just realized we can't do this. And the other thing to consider is that once people park in the parking lots, then to get over to where the festival is, we all climb onto a bus together. So that's not likely going to happen.
Well, that's a given that the bus situation's not going to happen because of the way things are shut down with the school district. But the other part is, Tom, I thought of the same thing, and actually I did a quick walk around, I don't know, last week, out back trying to figure out maybe, if things were relocated, you move the stage so it was a little more central. The concern that I would have is that is such a big area that you're still going to have people tend to congregate close to the stage because, one, the speaker system isn't going to be loud enough to be able to fill that entire complex. And if we did, the housing development on the backside, I'm sure it won't be friends of ours, close to that. So, you're still going to have people near the stage and kind of in that proximity that you're looking at on field day anyways.
Yeah. Well, we talked about it and we looked, and I hate to say it, if we get to June 20th and we're all sitting around together having a beer and saying, oh geez, if we had the foresight we could have had this event, that is a less of a problem than us getting to June 20th and having this thing go, and it is a terrible mistake based on whatever happens the next 50 days. I would rather sit around drinking a beer saying, we should have had this event in hindsight, but we just don't know what the next 50 days are going to bring.
That's exactly it.
Well, Chris, it looks like you're going to get to your 7 o'clock.
Are you guys, is everybody in favor then if we take a look at the Fall Fest and what I'll say contingently make some adjustments to that so that we can bring some of what we would do in this event over there just to make that a little bit bigger of a, I'll say event, should that one even be able to go?
I think it's a good idea to kick that around.
Okay.
Because I agree with John Cale. If we got problems in October, we got bigger problems in a festival.
Yeah. It's just that it'll be a lot easier as we communicate back to these groups, just some of our thoughts, so that way there we can get their feedback. So from a planning purpose or planning standpoint, it just does make it a little bit easier to kind of go back to them and say, this is an option, are you able to help or, fit this into your schedule? So it gives us the ability to say yes or no.
Sure.
Yep.
All right. Well, Chris, thanks for hanging out and waiting for that.
Should probably take a ride down to the sewage treatment plant so I can become more familiar with it visually.
Why don't we have a summer fest at the sewage treatment plant?
You can't, there's too much methane in the air.
That's a good point. Yeah, well, it kills the COVID. Hopefully.
That's out of control.
I'll tell you, if we didn't laugh, we'd cry, wouldn't we? Well, I think, do we still have Donna at her popcorn at her office?
I'm going to get off. Thanks, everybody. I'm going to go and meet with softball now, so take care, everybody.
All right, thanks, Chris.
Thank you, Chris.
Bye-bye.
I will say, I think we did a pretty good job appointing him
Absolutely.
as the Director of Parks and Rec. Early returns are sharp, measured, like it. Anyway, now Donna.
Good afternoon.
Is this a good day for you that you get a 3-week reprieve?
Well, I'm hoping that'll be the outcome, absolutely.
Well,
I'll celebrate by going home before it was dark, but something happened in the first 15 minutes of your meeting that's probably preventing that. Yeah, it was a good presentation. I've learned a lot. Thank you.
well, we're just trying to, make sure all our department heads have a global aspect of how the town works. So you have now your sewer 101 down.
I do.
I think because the resolution went out and the board members got to see it, I don't think we have to have much discussion, but as to just read off the resolution and vote on it. But Donna, I don't want to take away your not 15 minutes of fame, but if you have anything to say, comment, question on, what we're about to do with a 3-week extension to the assessment season, so to speak, by all means, shoot away.
Well, I don't think that I have a lot to add to it because I have been individually discussing it with whoever had questions. My purpose of attending your meeting this evening is to be available to answer any remaining questions before you vote on the resolution. Simply stated, an executive order allows us to make this extension to give us adequate time to finish the assessment roll, which is important going forward into your budget season, not only the town, but the county and the school district. So I am asking for an extension so that I could complete that role and accomplish some other things as well. And it is worded stated on or before in the law. So the resolution before you repeats that and does say that the filing of the tentative assessment roll will be on or before a new date. Certainly, if we can prepare it before this 3 weeks is up, I thought I'd better ask for maybe a little more than I needed and a little less than I needed. So we'll publish it just as soon as it is ready. I'm projecting that to be no more than 3 weeks.
And Don, I have no doubt that you have under-promised and will over-deliver on that 3 weeks. I really believe that.
Thank you, Tom.
The only thing that I would like to broach here, I guess, is that, Donnie, you said something to me a few weeks ago that has resonated, that grievance day, which sometimes ends up being 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, depending upon how many cases the Board of Assessment Review has to hear. Did you not, I thought you said to me that you either got to do them all live and in person, or you got to do them all remote. You can't mix and match. Is that accurate?
That would be the board's and my preference, because what we are trying to do is kind of reinvent our whole processes to accommodate the social distancing. And the nature of our business is different than the nature of your board's business. So what we would like to do is set up a process. That's part of why I need some of this time, to set up a process so that we could accommodate everything in an electronic fashion. And by doing that, it would set things in motion that all taxpayers who would appear before the board would be on the same terms. So everything would be done the same way through a whole season, even if the governor opens up the state and we happen to open our town hall doors. All of our grievance processes will be held the same, so no one taxpayer would appear favored over another. The process will be the same through this entire phase.
I got you. I'm glad I brought this up, because
Is.
I misinterpreted when you said it that was part of the law or whatever. And I'm glad that we clarified. And I'm not arguing with the fact that the Board of Assessment Review and yourself would rather have it all or one and not mix and match. Am I right in assuming?
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I just want to make sure I'm right in assuming that, just like we said to Chris Bilo, you're talking about grievance day not starting until June 15th, which is 45 days from now. Are you looking to a certain date and time where you and the Board of Assessment Review will decide whether it's going to be all remote or all in person?
I think we're going to wait the next week or so and see how that goes, but it's going to take us time to put it together. As you can imagine, doing it all virtually is a whole different process for the staff to get it set up, for us to communicate to the taxpayers. We don't want them to know at the last minute, unless I have a meeting. I have to get together with the Board of Assessment Review chairman and the town attorney and kind of finalize some ideas that we have been putting out there. The path that we're on right now is to do that virtually. But what that looks like from the board's preferences and my preferences and the staff's preferences, and then what the law says we can and cannot do, has been very complicated. That has actually taken up a lot of our time already, which would add to part of why I'm not finished with the role, So the reason we would like it to continue in one particular fashion is the whole setup is different. You can't just say, oh, never mind, the doors are open, we can all gather in the room. Because the technology to do it in that room requires the staff to have certain things set up in advance for me that now they're not going to do, because we're going to be doing it a different way. And when I say that, I'm referring to how we do the audio. The audio in that room is a whole different process. And to change that in the middle is also not fair to the taxpayers, and it's also not fair to the staff, who's going to say, oh, well, guess what, next meeting we're going to do differently. And they're not ready for that. So.
Yep. Well, I'm glad I asked from a standpoint of, and it sounds like you thought also that it was more of a law. You can do it one way or the other.
That was the way I interpreted it as well.
And also that the fact that over the next couple of weeks you will determine if it's going to be all remote or all in person, and if it's all remote. Why do I get the feeling that Ms. Buck is going to be involved heavily in that?
We haven't talked to her yet. We've just been talking to our IT director and finding out what other towns are aiming to do. Not everyone is taking advantage of the extension. Of course, they didn't have the challenges throughout this assessment roll cycle that we have had here in Webster. So many towns are absolutely ready. But
Okay.
I'm gonna watch them. I'm gonna learn from how they do it.
Well, okay, well, like I said, I'm glad I asked because I think we were going under a different interpretation of why you had said that. I'm not debating, I think you're right. Do it all one way or do it all the other way. Don't mix and match. That's just a recipe for somebody complaining down the line that they got handled differently. Now, is Bill on yet? Or when we do this, is this going to be a 4-person vote?
Bill, you there?
I don't think Bill has been successful in calling in.
John, are you still there?
Yes, I am.
All right, well, I'm going to read this resolution that all of you have seen. I'll read it quick. Charlie, I assume I have to read it. Is that correct? And Barbara?
No, you don't have to read it.
Oh,
I mean, you can just state the dates. You can state the gist of it if you want.
you have made our evening. Okay, well, this is a resolution of the Webster Town Board changing the dates for filing the temporary and final assessment rolls, the hearing of real
That
property.
would be tentative. I'm sorry for not noticing that. That would be a tentative assessment roll, not temporary.
Oh, you're right. My error. I'll
Okay.
change it.
This is a resolution of the Webster Town Board changing the dates for the filing, the tentative and final assessment rolls, and the hearing of real property tax law Article 5 complaints in response to the COVID-19 pandemic. Executive Order 202.22 revised the roll and grievance schedule for 2020. The filing of a tentative assessment roll will be on or before May 22nd, where normally it is May 1st. Grievance Day will start on June 15th. I think that's a Tuesday. No,
Monday?
that's a Monday, where the usual grievance day is the 4th Tuesday of May, May 26th. The filing of the final roll will be on or before July 22nd, where the usual standard schedule is July 1st. That is the resolution that is being proposed.
Second.
Charlie, I'm here. I can call the vote, okay?
Yeah, oh, sure. Fine.
Okay. Supervisor Flaherty?
Aye.
Councilwoman Haldy?
Aye.
Councilman Cahill?
Aye.
Councilman Dean?
Aye.
Councilman Abbott here, can you hear me?
Oh, better late than never.
Councilman Abbott?
After 5 tries. Aye.
I don't.
I will send that to you. Actually, I was just adding everything in. I'll send it to you in the next minute. Okay?
Okay, and I'll forward it to the paper.
I don't
All right, great.
Great.
suppose this is a good time to let Councilman Abbott know that we moved summer celebration to his backyard. Bill, did you pick up that we are not going to be having summer celebration on June 20th?
I've been listening. I just couldn't get in with my voice. I don't
Okay.
know why.
Okay. And I don't want to shortchange you. I mean, are you okay with that?
I'm fine with everything so far.
Okay. And as I heard from Patty, from when she called you, that the sewer Excel spreadsheet, nothing was agreed on for any of those, so you'll review it and get back with any questions that you have.
I'm all set.
All right. Well, gang, anything else?
That'll do it.
Barry says that'll do it. Patty says.
I'm good.
John?
I miss you, Tom.
You know, there's something wrong with that guy. I'm not gonna fall for this. I'm not gonna be dragged into this.
Well, then have a meeting.
Yeah. Bill, we all set?
Yeah, it took me an hour and a half, but I finally got so my voice would work. I don't know why.
Well, hopefully soon.
Better late than never.
Bill? Yes.
Tom.
Was that Tom?
Hear me?
He's calling you.
Yes.
No, John.
Oh, John.
Yeah. Hey, when you get that spreadsheet regarding the grant monies, could you share that with everybody, please?
Oh, yeah. Yes. Yes. Can I make, yeah, you're talking about when Peter at Barton and Judas puts together something. I wouldn't share with you what Patty and I got back from EFC right now because she and I have been involved in this since the beginning, and I'll be darned if I can tell what.
No, that's fine. I'll wait for the other spreadsheet. That's fine.
Yeah.